New day, new goals, let's own it. And in this episode, we're about to meet up with someone who I really respect as one of the greatest visual storytellers right now on social media and just plain and simple of this millennial generation. He not only conquered being turned down so many times early in his life, to then finally being able to conquer his dreams for working for GoPro, what that was like for him to become head of social content for GoPro, taking them from literally 3 million to over 13 million on social media. But then how he left that dream job to now take his life into his own hands, working with some of the biggest brands and influencers in the game. I'm talking about Martin Garrix, Steve Aoki, the Chainsmokers, Post Malone, Tiesto, and the list goes on and on. So let's get right to it. The untold story. And this is for you, all my visual artists, Matt Komo. Fuck yeah, dude. I'm stoked, man. Yes! Matt fucking Komo.
Finally.
Yes. I'm so, listen, like, I gotta be honest. I've interviewed a lot of successful people, but I think getting creators on a show is the hardest thing, literally, that I've had to go through. Like, you guys are busy, man, and telling stories, man, creating. I love it. But I kind of want to start with just like, who is Matt Komo? Like, where did it kind of stem from, the creative side for you?
That's interesting. So I never really thought I was going to get into film or anything creative because I don't have a single creative person in my entire family.
Oh, wow.
So it all kind of like happened through like sports. So I always say like I developed like really late physically. So I started high school at like 5'1", like 105 pounds. Like even going into college, I was probably like 5'5", like 130 pounds, and now I'm 6'1", like 185.
Okay, what the hell?
So
it's like, do that?
I know, I just hit like my growth spurt really late, but like the point that I'm making is like I've always like kind of been behind. So like when I tried out for like the baseball team my freshman year in high school, got cut from that, and then like I tried to go do like a track and field, I pole vaulted, and I ended up getting hurt. Ended up like not tearing but straining both my Achilles tendons. Couldn't walk for like 6 months, and then that's like. That event is like what inspired me to like pick up a camera and then film like my teammates and stuff. And from there, that's how that like transitioned into what I'm doing now. I kind of just like picked up an act for it and like ran with it.
Wow. And that's probably like before like any like social media, so to speak. I mean, I'm sure social media was probably around at that time, but it was more so you just picked up a camera and started to want it to like...
Yeah, social was definitely in its infancy. Like it wasn't like anything yet, so... I always like kind of knew though I was like more visually oriented than I guess anything else. I feel like people perceive information either visually or through sounds.
Yeah.
And I just perceive information like through imagery. So it all kind of like connected together, I guess.
Similar to you, I like loved sports, but I was also I actually had a growth spurt late too. Mm-hmm. So I was always like the skinny, sure kid that got like that couldn't get on first string.
Right.
And that like always...
It's tough.
Yeah.
It's tough, especially when you're like growing up too. I feel like everyone discounts you and like no one expects anything from you, know? And like you have to work twice as hard to just even get to the same level. And that's like, I really feel like when I think about it now, like the reason why I like work so hard and the reason why like I push so hard so quickly is because of all that, because I've always had to my entire life.
So let's talk about that for a second, because I think that's the case for me too, but it takes a long time to realize it. Like, I really feel I learned late in my life that I feel like I had this grudge. And I don't know if it was because, one, I've talked about this on another episode that's with Mel Robbins, of like, I wanted to make my dad proud, right? So,
right.
But
she's great, I love her videos.
Yeah, she's so dope. But I also feel like I've always had like this, like I want to prove to the world like I can make it. I think because when I dropped out of college, like people really looked at me as like that dropout.
You got to do it.
So did you ever feel like you had something to prove, or
100%.
Yeah.
Definitely, yeah. You're proving to the world that you're worth something, So yeah, I definitely can relate to that.
Do you still feel that way, or did you ever get to a point where you're like, because I feel like I'm at the point now where I'm like, wait a second, I don't have anything to prove to anyone.
Anyone, yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I'm only out here trying to better myself and live my best life. But it took me until I broke into my 30s, and now it's why I'm trying to spread this message down to people that are in their 20s and people older that are still like not realizing their worth. Are you at a point in your career now where you feel like you really genuinely value yourself and value your worth?
100%. I would say the transition was probably about a year and a half to 2 years ago, where it shifted from trying to prove myself to the world and more so just proving to myself that I can do something. And it's like I wouldn't say there was like a singular event that like made that switch. It more so was just kind of like gradually over time, where like I achieved the certain things that I wanted to do, worked for the companies and people I wanted to work for. And then, you know, eventually once that all kind of wears out and you do like prove to people that like you can do what you say you're going to do, then it just shifts to, okay, what can I like personally do to better myself mentally, physically, career-wise, and that's where I'm at now, and that's what keeps me going.
I hope people realize that, like, yeah, of course, like go out there and create success, and that will help. But if you can take the lessons that we learned and implement them earlier into knowing that like you are 100%, you value yourself now, that you don't have to prove anything to anyone, just better yourself right now. Like, it's only a matter of time before those achievements really get unlocked.
I always say like small incremental progress every single day adds up over years, you know what I mean? So as long as you do like one small thing to better yourself mentally, physically, like whatever it is, just every single day, you know, time's gonna go by. So 5 years goes by, like all that stuff adds up.
It does.
You know, and like that's kind of been the pillar of at least all my successes, just small improvements. Because I get overwhelmed easily, and like if there's too much going on and I'm like trying to make these like big leaps and do all these things, it just doesn't work, you know?
It never does. How are you consistently elevating your game and learning new tricks and learning new techniques?
YouTube tutorials still. It's like the best free resource ever. Reading a lot. More so now, just books, bro. I mean, like everybody's like, whatever you're trying to do in your life or any like thing you're going through mentally, like someone's probably written a book about it, and all you got to do is just learn and understand.
So true.
That's it. Like everything's accessible. So
it's crazy.
It's just the will to want to know how to do it.
Yeah, like I love to snowboard. I grew up on BMX. I was a skater growing up. Like skydive, you know, like I love all of that stuff.
Yeah.
I don't think I can do it as well as you guys. Like those cliffs, some of those cliffs, like we got to cut to some of these cliff jumps, man.
So it's a big day. Finished. Episode 1, baby. Komo, Mr. Matt here, came out, helped big time. He shot a bunch of Ronin stuff, he shot a bunch of drone stuff, and he's been jumping at the bit to jump off this cliff.
Damn, this is like a perfect setup. Yo, you gotta clear this.
To the top of the waterfall. How tall do you think this is? 40? Check this out. It's gonna be sick.
Wash me down so I reborn. Open heavens, let it pour. You can love me again, again, again. You better love me again. You better love me again. You better love me
I mean, if anyone's scared of heights, you would probably freak out at some of the stuff that you guys do, like on ledges. Like, does that come natural to you?
My mom hates it. She absolutely hates it. I mean, I like it. It's pushing myself. It's like it's a mental and physical thing that you have to overcome, right? So like a lot of the stuff I like do now, like I'll never push myself beyond the point where I'm like, I physically can't do this, because then that's the point where it's not safe.
Yeah.
If I know that I can physically do it, then the next thing is, okay, can I mentally like process like backflipping a 60-foot cliff? Like, can I mentally overcome that? Can I like compose myself? And it's a way to, not only do I get a rush from it and I think it's like insanely fun, but it's more so a way to just test myself. And I find it like really interesting. I'm like, can I do this?
Yeah.
And I feel like that's what drives me a lot, is I just always ask myself, can I actually do this?
How do you consistently build that mindset muscle?
Well, I mean, it's like what I said earlier. It's starting small. It's understanding the foundation and the basics of everything, and you start doing it like for a backflip analogy. You start doing them in foam pits, and you do it in water. Then eventually, like you take it to the ground, and then you do 10 feet, 20 feet, 30 feet, and you just keep going. But I mean, it's like that with anything. It's like starting a business. You're like, okay, what's the idea? Okay, then how are we going to actually make it? You go through the design, then distribution, and then marketing, and it's just all baby steps. Like I cannot like preach that enough, is just start small. And like that like philosophy also helps me a lot with editing, because I mean, you guys might know, like making like videos and stuff is like, it's the most like overwhelming like sensory overload process ever, where like, let's say you're making like even just a 10-minute film, right? And like there's so many cuts in this, and like sound and visual effects and all these things, and it's like really hard to process mentally when you think of it as a whole. But when you think of it in 10-second increments, it like makes everything a lot easier. All right, how are these first 10 seconds going to be the best they can be? How do I transition that to the next? And then how does act 1 go to act 2 to then act 3? And when you just, at least for me, when I break things up, that's like gives me the momentum to just keep it going. Not only with film, but just like, I guess anything I'm trying to do in life.
I know, like my team tells me, in like 1 minute of like a good film, or good, that you're even for social content, like can take hours to work, right? And I think most people don't realize the amount of time it takes to create some of these
crazy
videos.
Well, I mean, you think about like, that's the thing, like everybody will watch these things and they look at it at the surface level. They're like, oh, that's cool, like he traveled here and did this, but there's so much more involved with that. You have to think of the idea, you have to go there, you actually have to shoot and do like what you're showing, edit it. And like the thing is with film, it's like one like small thing like is wrong with your film as a whole, like ruins the entire thing. Like if your ending's not good, people will disregard the entire piece. If your sound's off and like by a couple seconds, people won't even watch it. They'll be like, this is awful. You know what I mean? Or like the coloring's blown out. It's like everything needs to be like perfect in order for it to work.
I know.
It's a crazy process.
It's so difficult. It's so difficult. Do you think that there's beauty in imperfection though? Like especially for someone who's like starting out?
It depends. I mean, I believe Casey Neistat is a good example of that. He's perfected the art of imperfection. In the sense where you watch his films, he just like would throw stuff off the table. He'll like write down like the title and like that's his style. It's like an imperfect style. Right. Mine's just not like that. I'm not that lucky. Everything's just got to be like so buttoned up.
So I asked a bunch of you on my Insta story, what were some questions that you had for Matt? And a common one actually was, how did he actually get his dream job at GoPro? I mean, we all have those brands that we relate to that we always dreamt of being able to work with. And Matt dreamt of working with GoPro since literally in his teenage years. But he talks about how it wasn't easy actually getting in the doors, getting them to pay attention. And most importantly, when they declined him, how did he actually figure out a way to not stop there until he actually got that job? And then what was it actually like being young, getting that position and earning his way up the ranks to finally being head of social for such a global, huge company like GoPro? So did you have a vision of working with GoPro? Like, was it like, this is the brand I want to work with, like I'm going to manifest this, I'm going to make this happen, and like take me through, how did that happen for you? How did that change your life?
Dude, I wanted to work for GoPro my whole life, pretty much. Ever since the first one came out, I think I was like a freshman in high school, maybe like in 8th grade, somewhere around there. Like they put out those videos and I was like, I'm going to work for this company. I said it throughout my entire like college experience. I was like, I'm going to graduate and I'm going to go either to Red Bull or GoPro and work there. But like I said before, how everything's been based off of failure. I applied for a job there, or applied for an internship, I think, and I didn't get it. So I'm like, shit, it's like not good. So I applied for like, I think it was like the ski and snowboard team. Didn't get that job. And then like 2 months goes by, this is my senior year of college, and like my resume and portfolio like floated throughout the company, and the director of social there, her name's Leanne, she like found my work and she gave me a call. And
did you send it to like all the different people that were working there to try to get it spread out?
Within reason. I mean, you don't want to be like annoying about it, and like she gave me a shot.
Wow.
And I interviewed with her twice, and she's like, we'd love to have you on the team. And I graduated, and literally within 7 days I moved from Orange County to San Francisco, and started working there, and that was like the whole start of it. And, I mean, but it's one of those things where like on the surface, it's like, wow, that's like crazy, that's cool, but like, dude, I've been putting out videos after video after video like for years, and like always like was shooting on GoPros, like pumping it on my social media, like pumping it on my YouTube and Instagram.
You like
and
lived
stuff.
it.
Oh, 100%. I live the brand, and that's the only reason why I got the shot that I did. Is you have this young kid who's actually using the products. He's like is young, has all this energy, like, you know, a lot of it is right place, right time, but like you can influence that. You know what I mean?
Preparation creates opportunity, you know, and
Right.
you were prepared for that opportunity. So I mean, shit, that's amazing. What was it like working for them though? Like, was it like they gave you some creative control, or was it like just they're sitting there and having to just edit what they tell you? What was that like?
Like, this is like the story like no one will ever like hear until I say it right now, I guess, is you know, I moved up to SF and I didn't have a place to live, so I was like couch surfing for 6 months pretty much. Like moving pretty much every 2-3 weeks on a different couch at like, you know, 21 years old. And the work I was doing there right when I started wasn't glamorous by any means. Like, I was pretty much a glorified secretary, essentially, you know, just like ingesting content, like editing it, like giving my feedback in meetings, and rightfully so. Like, you know, I didn't earn the respect yet, you know, and like I totally understand that. And I feel like that's the biggest misconception now, is I feel like people just want things right away, and like
they want the entitlement of just like right away, that just getting something.
Like I put in so much grunt work, like just start there, like just working on weekends, like working at night, like getting up early, like going to the office before everybody else for a good majority of a year. And then you know, my circumstances like ended up changing. You know, I ended up getting like a little bit more like creative freedom, and
so it just happened slowly. It wasn't like this like one shot where you had you saw kind of like an opportunity to kind of shift their perspective or create a different video or anything.
Not
like
really.
that.
It was just kind of slow, and like you just, you know, you gain the team's trust, and you know, it wasn't just me on the team. You know, there was like 8 of us, 8 to 12 of us, and you know, everybody played a very like vital part to it, and they're all amazing people. But yeah, it was a slow process, and you know, I think what helped a lot was actually my age. It's like it can go both ways. Either you're really young in a big company and no one listens to you because, oh, hey kid, like you don't have like the experience, right?
Yeah.
But the space that I was in social media, it's like it was so new, and the only person who could innately understand it because I was living it was me on my team. You know, everybody was a little bit older, you know, getting close to 30 or over 30.
Yeah.
So they're trying to market to like my age and a little bit younger. So who are they gonna ask? They're gonna ask, you know, they're gonna ask me like, oh, what do you think? Like, is this cool? Like, is this gonna resonate with, you know, kids in high school? And like, you know, that like those questions kept getting asked more and more, and like that's kind of how that like started to transition a little bit.
I believe in that concept of like short-term pain, long-term pleasure, and I think that you're the living example of that, right? Like you went through like a lot of like putting in the work that most people don't see behind the scenes to put you in a position that over a long period of time has positioned you now to have your own brand, create your own reality, working with your, you know, creating an income stream, doing what you want, when you want, how you want, without any boss, you know, and that's like living the dream as a creator. Like, what message would you say to those that like, I think feel that entitlement, or feel like, you know what I'm saying? They're living their life, they're having fun, they think that like law of attraction maybe will happen, but they, you know, what does it really truly take when you're between the ages of 18 and 24 to put you in a position that you are now?
You work all the time, morning, night, and you just don't stop. I mean, I think I picked up a camera around like 13 or 14. I just turned 25 like last week, or like a week and a half ago. So like, if you look at that as a timeline, that's 10 years. Yeah. 10 years of like, you know, I just started to gain, I guess, whatever you call recognition within the last 2. So that's 8 years of nobody knowing who I am, nobody giving me the time of day, and like just by myself in a room, learning how to edit, learning how to do everything, and just putting in, I feel like it's said so much, like you have to put in the work, you gotta grind and do all this stuff, and there's a reason why everybody says it, because there's no way around it.
There's no way around
You know,
it.
there are off, you know, chances where people blow up overnight and like, you know, just not.
But
I'm
even
not I wasn't that lucky.
but even that doesn't last.
No.
You know what I'm saying? Like you can have a viral video, obviously, right? But that doesn't. It's like having a one-hit wonder, a song.
Yeah, I believe that the quicker you come up, the quicker you go down as well. So like, you know, I've never really had like a massive spike in social media. I've never really had like, I guess, a massive spike in my career per se. It's always just been slow and steady, and like that's what gives me, I guess, the confidence to know that I'm gonna have, I guess, a long career. Is like, you know, I'm not like doing these like crazy things and like, you know, just like going 1,000,000 miles an hour and then back to zero. It's just this. It's
Steady.
Just steady Eddie.
Like that's why I really believe in leaders create leaders, because I believe that what we're learning, for like what I'm learning now in my 30s, it's like, it's unbelievable to me how now it's like so quickly those life lessons, almost because I feel social has given us the ability to be able to break free in so many ways, right? Like you're wearing a movement watch, they were on the show. Like as a creator, there's so many people, there's so many of us that are being able to have social as this tool to break free from the system, 100%. To beat the system. And then all of a sudden, those life lessons, that wisdom of like, what is life really meant for? Like, what, you know what I mean? You start thinking about purpose. You start thinking about, you know, that being more conscious with your energy,
right.
the people you spend with your time with, the environments you want to be in, the way you want to travel the world, the way you see the world.
Right.
And I feel like, for me, it took me a long time to get there, bro. Like, so long. I was all about the grind. I was all about the hustle. And again, work. I always say hard work comes before the dream.
Of course.
We both can agree to that.
Of course.
But there's more to life than that.
Yeah, definitely.
You know what I mean? And it's like, it seems like you have figured that out at even a younger age. And that's starting to happen, right? And it's, you still need to put in that hard work. But when did your view of like the world change? And how has that evolved now that you started to you left GoPro? I'm sure that played a big role in it, right? But now you take things into your own hands.
Oh, that's a good question. Probably I would say about a year and a half ago. I don't even really, I guess, know like a singular like event that would have changed that. But I guess, you know, you're running so fast, you're going 1,000,000 miles an hour, and then it does get to a point where sometimes you're like, okay, like why am I doing this? Like, why am I at the gym at 5 a.m. like doing this, and then like running around all day, like shooting all the stuff, and then late at night, like what is the point behind it, you know? And I think the more that I thought about that, the more it shifted my purpose and intent behind things. So now I kind of like, over the course of a year, I kind of, you know, only take on projects that I feel passionate about, only take on projects that I feel like are gonna make some sort of like impact positively on people. And I don't know, it's kind of just, I don't even know if I'm like just rambling about
it's just really important.
But it's like, I want things to be more meaningful, I guess now. And I kind of like, my whole like demeanor has kind of like changed, I guess. Because before I would say like 2 years ago, I was like, let's go all the time. And like that was my personality. And like, I think there does need to be an element to that when you're just starting out. It's like, that's so important. Like you gotta be on your grind. But as you know, like once you kind of like start to achieve the certain things that you want, like there's only like there's like two ways you can go. You're like, you set the next set of like expectations or next set of goals, you know, and like, what is that? Is that monetary? Like some people want a nicer car, a bigger house, like whatever. Or you look at what you're doing and like you, instead of like just achieving things, is like
the impact.
The impact, is it more meaningful? And that's different. Like your work then becomes a lot different because one, you're making things for distance, you're making things for scale, and the other thing, you're making it for depth. You're making it for how's it actually going to influence people in a good way. You know what I mean?
This is literally like the next generation of filmmakers. I just can't thank you guys enough. Like this is insane. Really cool to put a face to everyone's name. So this is literally my dream to be able to talk to all you guys. And thank you. It's awesome.
I love that, bro. Hearing that come from you is so fucking beautiful, man. It's so powerful. It is the reason why you're sitting in that chair. It is the reason why you're a conscious creator. You know what I mean? And I think that that's the message that I want everyone to really take from this. You know, because it is cool, right? Like, it can be from the outside looking in, dude. Like, it can look so cool, right? You got Instagram blowing up. You got, like, you're working with all the biggest artists in the world. You're traveling the world. But it's important for everyone to know, like, yeah, all that stuff is glorified and it's great and it's cool.
Right.
And you have to work extremely hard to get there. But there does come a point where you have to realize that the impact that you can make with where you're channeling that energy, you're channeling that opportunity. Because yeah, if you work really hard, you will put yourself in a position to have opportunity. You'll put yourself in a position to seize that opportunity. But what happens when you start to have that success? That shows true character, right? Is it because you just want monetary things? You want to buy cooler things? That's still cool too. I like nice things. I like cool things. But more importantly, like, how are you going to channel your energy, your influence that you have to truly inspire the world, or to truly push humanity forward, or to change someone's mindset or whatever? And it seems like you're doing that, man, at the highest level.
Trying to.
Yeah, it's amazing, bro. It's really cool.
I mean, I think it's important. I think it's really important.
Matt, so I just want to ask you, like, people probably see your life. They see, sometimes they see my life. They see, like, a lot of the influencers that you're friends with lives.
Right.
Like, you know, Instagram does this thing where it's like the highlight reel, right? And it's like so perfect. And it's like, it's not because you're trying to impress anyone else. It's just like, that's your craft. It's your passion to put out visually amazing stories, you know, and, you know, but I want to ask you, like, do you believe that this new landscape that's happening with digital media is actually creating more human connection?
I think it's two parts. I think yes, and I also think no, and I feel strongly about both. Yes, because we're more connected than ever now. Like, you can look up someone that you admire and send them a DM, and there's a pretty good chance that they'll see it. You know, like, that has never been, like, even a possibility years ago. You know, like, you can connect with people all over the world. I'm staying with a kid in Tribeca right now that I only knew through social media, and now we're like best friends. So in that regard, yes. In the other aspect where I say no, I think people need to be aware that, like, obviously social media is a projection of, like, your life, and, like, it's obviously curated, you know, like, you take a photo and you look, okay, what's the best one out of, like, the 10 that you took, and then you edit that, and then, like, filter on, and it's like such a small little aspect of what you're actually doing. And I think that's where, like, a lot of people can get down about it, where it's like you look at everybody else's life and you're like, why, like, you start comparing, like, why, like, is my life not like this? And the grass is always greener, right? So, like, you always just think that's, like, they're doing something better. But if you have the awareness to know that, like, that's what it is, then it won't bother you. So I guess, yeah, my answer goes, it swings both ways. I think it's hugely beneficial. It started a ton of careers for many different people, but it also can be just as detrimental, depending on how much value you place in it.
Right. And I think that's why it's, like, just so important for everyone to, like, just, like, focus on you, like, be you. Like, it can be a tool that you use, you know, for your own life. It could be a tool that you use to build your brand and to connect with other people. Like, use it as a tool, but don't get caught up into this, like, cycle of comparing yourself to everybody and thinking everybody has this, like, perfect life. You know?
I mean, it depends on what you use it for. Like, if you're an artist and you use it as a platform to show your art to the world, that's completely different. If you use it as just to flex on everybody and be like, this is how amazing my life is.
Yeah, just to boost your ego.
Yeah, of course, like, that, like, that's gonna crumble, you know what I mean? Like, it's not a sustainable thing, you know, and it's different. So that's why, like, I feel like there's two, also, this is, like, kind of separate, but on the same train of thought, I feel like there's two types of people who use social media. It's like, you're either, like, an influencer who, like, you know, somehow, like, gain a massive social media following for who knows whatever reason, and, like, what happens if those numbers are gone tomorrow? Like, then just who you are also, like, go away. or you're the type of person who's creating things and you have a skill set and you have a reason to have this like, you know, following. And like, if the number is gone tomorrow, like I could still be a filmmaker tomorrow. You know what I mean? You just take the talent somewhere else. You take it to wherever the eyes are. So that's why you just have to be careful with it, I guess.
When you ask yourself questions, you were like, you know, when you're in the gym at 5 a.m. and then you're going and running around in shoots all day, you don't know what day and time it is, you're hustling at night, you're doing all these things. The questioning, I think, is really important. Like, everyone should question. What Matt said is important. Like, you should constantly be questioning, why are you doing this? 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 And because there's the side of, yes, we all want to have achievements because we want to break free. But it's bigger than that. It's bigger than you. It's bigger than your achievements, right? We're all here for that purpose. So figuring that out is really important. So I wanted to make that point. Is there a video, like you've done so many dope fucking shoots. Talk about some of the ones that have been like epic for you, that like you really are proud of, that like have been, from an experiential standpoint, from actually going through it and living it, and then visually then sharing that story with the world.
I think the most recent longtime friend and collaborator, obviously Rory, you know who he is.
Yeah, Rory Kramer's coming on the show. Rory, we coming at you. Really happy that Rory, you know, God bless, overcame that crazy accident.
Of course, yeah.
But you were with Dare to Live, right?
I did, yeah, we did Dare to Live with him. I did a couple episodes. I think it was like an 8-episode season. But yeah, long time, like good friend and collaborator. But earlier this year, we did a music video for Chainsmokers called Everybody Hates Me. That was like, so he directed that, and then I was the director of photography, so my role is like visually, how does it look, camera angles, lighting. But that was a big one for me this year, that like, it was the first time I think since I left, or since I graduated college, where I kind of hopped back into the traditional world of film, where I'm actually like, you know, I trained to be a DP, like a cinematographer, so you're shooting on nice cameras, on Ariel Alexa, have these nice anamorphic lenses, and we're on like a set, and that it was like really fun for me to do. It was cool because like doing the pre-production with Rory through the production, and then doing post, like, and watching it come to life. It actually was nominated for a VMA last week.
Wow.
We lost.
But just that's a win anyways, being nominated.
I know. It was best dance music video of the year. We lost to Avicii. I mean, rightfully so. He's the GOAT. But
yo, God bless Avicii. Rest in peace, bro.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that was pretty cool.
Another one must have been the Chainsmokers video that you did even before that. We got like over 2 billion views, man.
Yeah.
Like, what was that like when you saw that video, just like completely going from an idea to something, one of the most viral music videos of all time?
Yeah, so that came about in like the most random way possible. So I didn't even really know Rory at the time. I was still at GoPro, and I was good friends with you know, Jordan and Alyssa, and we were like filming all these things in like Laguna for like something completely separate. Rory came back from a trip, and they had to like pump out this video really quick. We already were sitting on all this footage. So he like came up with the idea to like repackage it and then make it the music video that, you know, we all saw. And
which is actually really hard to do, from my understanding, because usually you need to like create it based on music, you know what I mean?
Yeah. That was for me like one of those like holy shit moments where like, you know how people are always like, oh, like I've been following this artist for like before they were famous, and like, you know, it's like the artistic thing to say, but like for real though, bro, I was like listening to these guys on Hype Machine, like their first or second song like ever, like way back in the day. If you guys know what Hype Machine is, I don't know if you guys are on that. It was like this blog website where like 8 years ago, like, or not even that long ago, maybe like 6 years ago, if you came up through Hype Machine, you were like almost guaranteed to like hit it big, and it was like kind of the underground like EDM like website. So I've been following them forever. So when this came out and like, you know, I got attached to the project, it was like, dude, this is like, that was insane for me. The first day, I think it had like a couple 100,000 views in the morning, and like I was like, oh, this is amazing, a couple 100K. And then like a week goes by and it's at like 10 million, and then it's like 20 million, 50 million, 100. It just kept going.
200 million,
bro, just
400 million. 800 million,
bro,
1 billion, 2 billion.
Dude,
like what the?
It came
crazy.
out. It came out, I think, in July of 2016, and by October, so like a couple months later, I think it was like 500 million views, And then like a couple months, like I think before the new year, it was like 1 billion views.
That's literally like more, what is it, like more than a quarter of the entire planet. So we're gonna get into one of the darkest moments in Matt's life. It was the moment when he thought he should just completely quit, change careers, and that literally was just like his rock bottom moment.
So like I've only really like told this like 2 or 3 people, and it's like not like, I mean it's a personal story, but it's like everyone can like know about it. It's fine.
Appreciate that.
So like, dude, so at that time in like my life, like I was working for GoPro, but like I wasn't quite at that point yet where like things started to transition for me and I was doing what I wanted. So I still was just like, I felt like I was like in this rut, you know, and like I wasn't doing the work I wanted to do there quite yet. I still like barely had, I like just found a place finally after couch surfing for 6 months, which I don't know if any of you guys have ever done that, but it's emotionally exhausting not having a home to live. And like talking about the gym at 5 a.m., dude, I was at the gym at 5 a.m. in the morning. It was Monday and I was like lifting chest and dude, I literally started to cry in the gym, like by myself. There's like 2 other people at this Equinox in San Mateo. And I was just like, nothing's working. Nothing's working for me. I'm like, yeah, I have this job at GoPro, but I'm not doing what I want. My social media hadn't popped. Like at that time, I maybe had like 800 subscribers or something on YouTube, which is nothing. Had less than 10,000 on IG.
And you just started feeling like maybe
bro, nothing was connecting, like 0. I would like the quality of my work back then is very similar to what it is now. It's been weeks to months making these things.
Yeah, so you were at this point of like 10 years feeling like you
bro, it's so discouraging. I'm like, nobody's like watching this. Like, is it, it was the first time in my life where I was just like, maybe this isn't for me. Maybe like I don't have that like X factor, you know what I mean? And that's like, that's very hard to like understand as like a young person like trying to, you know, make it and like do their thing. And like it was such a black and white decision that day. Like I literally asked myself, okay, like what do I do? Do I either stop and like, you know, make a career decision, like maybe go do something a little safer, go do like marketing or something for like another company and like not try and push this dream of mine, or do I just keep going? And do I just, it's the only thing I know how to do and the only thing I feel like I'm good at. So within 30 days of that is when we shot all the Chainsmoker stuff and the video came out. And like, I literally was like at the brink. That was the only time in my entire life I was literally at the brink of giving up.
I think one of the most unbelievable things is like the moments that we get to like the rock bottom, like giving up moments, and like all of a sudden just everything feels like it's working against you. Like so many things are going wrong, and it's like happens in people's lives where it's like in so many different ways, right? It could be like a death in a family, then like business, you don't make payroll, you know, it could be just like so many different things can be going wrong in your life, and you just feel like giving up, man.
100%.
And a lot of people are in that position. And I just, if there's one thing that you take away from this episode with Matt and I, it's like, know that like you are so close. And if you just push through, put one foot in front of the other, just a little bit longer, like Matt just like said he did, like you are so close to just that one moment. And it literally is one moment that will change your life, that will change your perspective, that will change the future of your destiny. And like that happened with you, bro. And it's like, it's so close and it's so crazy how much like when we're so close to giving up, you're one moment away from that all changing.
Like, yeah, still to this day, it's like burned into my mind, that like memory, and I'm just like, you gotta keep going. Like if you want it, like you'll do it, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
Yo guys, I hope you guys love this episode. Literally, Matt is such a conscious creator that is so powerful. I cannot wait to continue to see his work. Make sure you follow him, make sure you engage, let him know what were the takeaways that you really felt from this episode that will impact you. You know, some of my favorites is, first of all, you know my quote, hard work comes before the dream. He never gave up, even when he's told no, even though when he had that rock bottom moment in his life, he just didn't stop. And there's so many times in my life that I thought about quitting, or that I was stressed out, I had anxiety, I didn't know if I should push forward, but because I put one foot in front of the other, it always opened up new doors. And the other part that I loved was when he talked about character, how he actually treats others was like the #1 tip he had for him to build the circle of influence that he has. It all starts with character. That's what a real leader is. And guys, there's never been a better time to be a conscious creator. He started as a teenager just picking up a camera. You have a story, you have a vision. Go out there, create it, show it to the world, because it's those stories that we tell that have a ripple effect that inspire and truly impact our world. So go out there, guys, be conscious in what you create. Go out there and conquer your dreams. And if you love this episode, please make sure to share it with your friends, subscribe, engage, and comment. And it's your boy GA. Until next time, I love you guys. Peace. So if each one of these episodes resonates with you, the lifestyle, the impact, just really like the whole model that all these entrepreneurs represent, it's something that I think, really helps them stand as a world-class leader. And what I wanted to do was I wanted to give you guys some extra value other than just watching these episodes. So I created a report, and it's called The Map. It's basically a guide to give you and teach you how to create this influence, this impact, this income that a lot of the entrepreneurs and leaders that I bring on the show have. The MAP stands for monetizing your expertise, amplifying your message, and positioning your personal brand. It's free. All you guys got to do is click the link in the description and we'll email it to you free of charge. And it's something that I wish I had when I first became a creator. So hopefully you guys enjoy, and thanks for watching Leaders Create Leaders. Peace.
I just wanna take